Hey guys, so as you saw the last time I was here, the police decided to knock on the door and break down the door. Now, I want to give you all a little bit of a backstory of what's been going on. You guys have a general idea. You guys know what's been going on with CPS, how they opened up a fraudulent substance exposed newborn case, yada, yada, yada. Now, I'm going to make sure I have these attached in this video, so when the CPS trolls start coming out of their woodwork saying that I'm crazy, you guys can enjoy the fact that I actually have documentation of reality compared to their craziness. So, to kind of give you a bit of an idea, I have wanted one thing from Scott this entire time. All I've wanted from him is to file motions to find out why Iris's health fell into such decline. Now, as you guys know, and I'll show you all again. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go back. As you guys saw, there was another SWAT team that came and stormed the house. Now, I don't know how much I said on my other videos, but as you guys know, I had informed you that Scott called a hit on me, and he said that he was going to keep calling the hit on me. As you guys saw, the hit came. The hit was one fat-ass fucking cop who claimed to be a sheriff. That was not a sheriff. And two other cops. Now, the reason why he's calling these hits on me is because, and he and CPS are calling these hits on us, are because, once again, we have evidence that CPS is opening up fraudulent cases. So I'm going to have to go over this in every video I do, because we all have, you guys have all seen those delusional lunatics who come here and say that facts and evidence aren't facts and evidence. You know, it's really alarming that these people who don't understand the basic definitions of words. For example, a delusion is when you dismiss facts and evidence for something that is completely unverified or has already been proven false. So the fact that we have CPS sitting here opening fraudulent substance exposed newborn cases and saying that they're testing positive for drugs is either delusion or just straight up maliciousness. Either way, both pretty bad. So just to remind you guys, once again, CPS opens up fraudulent substance exposed newborn cases. As you can see here, everything tested negative across the board. Now, to let you guys know kind of a little bit about what happened. That hit team came in with a court order supposedly for my detainment. Now, Scott had written up a petition that was ultimately full of a bunch of bullshit. He's been saying that I've been refusing to get help when I've left a very long trail of trying to get help. I mean, guys, these videos themselves are calling for help across, the country, the globe, to stop human trafficking. So clearly I've left a nice, big record of me calling for help. Now, so once again, let me continue on with the blood work. This is what Scott, and you have to remember, guys, he keeps walking out because I'm asking him for one thing, well, two things. One, to file motions to find out why Iris's health declined. And the most recent one is he seems to think this isn't abuse. I think this is abuse. When you are taking a healthy child with one thing wrong with them, one thing right here, one thing wrong with them, and you're taking them in case of neglect and doing this to them, that's abuse. I'm sorry, that's abuse. And the thing is this is twice now that I've asked Scott, let's go out to the supermarket, to the food store, somewhere independent on the street, and show people the blood work. Say, hey guys, I want your opinions, just unbiased, independent, third-party opinions, somebody who knows absolutely nothing about what's going on. So let's take a look at this blood work. We have this blood work from April 12th in our care. This is what CPS considers extremely malnourished. This is the day after CPS took her in case of neglect. Now, Scott doesn't seem to think this is abuse. Scott seems to think that this is perfectly fine and this is perfectly normal, and that CPS is refusing to do follow-up blood work is perfectly fine and perfectly normal. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. However, I just spent a week locked up at a facility with a bunch of doctors and nurses. And interestingly, the second they saw this blood work, they're like, get her the fuck out of here. Get her out of here. Monday morning, get her out. Why is that? Now, I wonder what would happen if we put in a petition to have Scott's mental health evaluated, and to get Jill McFalls's mental health evaluated, and to get Ben Levy's mental health evaluated. And I wonder what would happen if we have them admitted to the hospital with this evidence attached and say, can you please explain to us Why you think this is appropriate? Why you think it's appropriate to open up fraudulent substance abuse cases? Why you think it's appropriate to know that you're opening up fraudulent substance abuse cases and then going around lying to everybody, trying to get somebody killed? We know exactly why you're doing this. So guys, that's exactly why that hit team came the other day. Once again, they're upset that I was talking. So we have Scott sitting here pretty much telling me that I need to stop talking. I need to stop talking. I need to stop talking about the abuse that I went through as a child. He's been blaming me for all of this. Why? Because I've been demanding to know why Iris's health declined. Now, once again, let me remind everybody, this is in our care on April 12th. This is in CPS's care on April 26th. Now, it's also very alarming about this that a lot of people don't know. And once again, Scott seems to think that those medical records are delusions. So, another thing that Scott forgets to mention, neglects to mention, or to take his own words, doesn't care to mention. One thing he doesn't care to mention is the fact that after Iris was taken, not only did her blood work decline, she had bruises on the back of both of her hands. So that's two things. Blood work decline, bruises on the back of both of her hands. She developed heart murmurs, seizures, and also before she was taken, at 4 months old, she had gained 6 inches in length with us. So she had gained 6 inches in length, and in almost probably about 6 months to a year, she still hadn't gained that same 6 inches left. So they are stunting our children's growth right out of the gate. They're doing this right out of the gate. So right now, I want you guys to know, I'm not going to be living here anymore. I'm in the process of moving out. I have a number of backup plans. If you're a patriot and you're willing to help, and you guys know the risk. You guys know the risk of getting involved with me. You guys know the risk of coming near me. You guys know the risk of housing me. So, but just so you know, I'm going to be focusing on these lawsuits, and I need to be near DC. So I have a few things set up that I can already do in DC. If there's a patriot who I can work with who's willing to collaborate and together and help me not go crazy, then I would really appreciate it. If not, then don't worry. I've got something else going. But yeah, so I might need some help. Honestly, Amanda, unfortunately, I'm not safe. Scott is fucking crazy. He is completely fucking delusional. The fact that this man is going to sit here and say that he doesn't think she's being abused, comparing that blood work, is a whole different level of crazy. And he doesn't want to ask any doctors. He doesn't want to ask any nurses. He doesn't want to ask any independent third parties. And whenever I say, let's go out and let's ask people who don't know anything about the case, he calls me crazy, says I'm completely unreasonable, and walks out. I ask him, how is it unreasonable to want a follow-up blood test done? And he's screaming, it's been over a year. Why do you want one after a year? I don't know. I wanted one after a month. I've wanted one for over a year. Why haven't you been demanding to find out what's been going on? And this is unfortunately what we're dealing with. We have CPS taking advantage of stupid fucking people. Stupid fucking people. And you also have to remember, guys, that CPS has been thinking that they've been intercepting the federal case that we've got going. I've been seeing them at the federal courthouse when we're going to drop off papers. They've been thinking that they're intercepting it. We have the case now with the federal Supreme Court, and you know that they think that they intercepted that too. It's funny. They keep underestimating us patriots. They keep underestimating the Q Army. They keep underestimating we the people. It's funny how that ends up working out, isn't it? Sorry, bitches. I know your rule book, and I'm using it against you, and it's gonna take you down. Steve, I missed you. No, I'm actually not okay. Scott wrote up a completely false petition to have me locked up, and he made it a point to try and make sure that I couldn't get out. He's trying to make sure that I can't get out, that I can't file motions, that I can't be at court on the 23rd, because I have my next custody court date for Iris on the 23rd, July 23rd. I believe it's at like 9:30 in the morning at courtroom 15 on the 4th floor. The judge on overseeing that is going to be Judge Kathleen Cox at 401 Bosley Avenue, Towson, Maryland. So I think everybody should go to court if you want to go and see if Judge Cox is going to explain why she's allowing this blood work to happen. Now, interestingly, we might want to go back and think about Justice Clarence Thomas's little recommendation that he made. He specifically said, He specifically said that when a judge finds a decision that is erroneous, it is their responsibility. Wow, Scott, how many times have you posted on my videos with a troll comment on a fake account? Oh boy. Is that another little mistext of yours, honey? Just like your mom accidentally mistexted you today about how she was trying to get in contact with you from Ben? Who else is she talking to? Who else does she have involved in this, honey? It's not that I'm not helping the case. You're not helping the case by allowing Iris to be abused. You're not helping our case by allowing them to continue abusing children. You're not helping the case by turning a blind eye to all this. Guess what? Independent third parties who aren't involved in this actually see what's going on. Stop, Scott. Enough. Enough. You're full of shit. You're a fucking liar. When we were pregnant, you promised that you were going to let me make the decisions for her because I was worried this was going to happen. You didn't listen. You're the one who traumatized her before she was born because you didn't want to fucking listen. Stop talking. This is your fault. You didn't want to fucking listen. That's why we're here right now. You're the one who was poisoning her in the womb. You were the one who wasn't. Really? Hey guys, for those of you who have looked at this blood work right here, since Scott is not really paying attention, do you guys think that this is an improvement in health over this? Do you think taking a child from this in case of neglect is okay, and intentionally doing this to the child for over a year and refusing to provide answers? Is that not abuse? Taking a child from an organic, all-natural lifestyle, from this kind of healthiness, and placing her with lunatics who, by the way, brag about being best friends with the man who impregnated me as a child? I find it so amazing, Scott, how willing you are to turn a blind eye to all of this. How willing you are to let all this happen under your nose. How you're willing to sit there and say, yes, please keep abusing my family. Please keep abusing my wife. Please keep abusing my daughter. And please keep abusing me. Sorry, Scott. Independent people, independent third parties, people with a fucking brain disagree with you. Anybody with a fucking brain disagrees with you. You have your opinion based on what your mother and what Ben is telling you. How about you look at the facts and evidence for once in your life? You're fucking crazy. You are sick. You are sick if you think this is an abuse. You are sick if you think this is okay. And you are the one who needs to be locked up, not me. If you think doing that to children and you turning a blind eye to it for 15 months, how many children have been kidnapped because you turned a blind eye? How many children have been kidnapped in the past 15 months because you didn't want to do anything? Well, the thing is, Anne, is I have yet to actually see an independent third party actually review this who has agreed with Scott. Every single independent third party who I have spoken with in person, remember, as soon as I got those medical records to the hospital, they released me like that. Monday morning, they're like, get her the hell out of here. Get her the hell out of here. Why is that? If I was crazy, don't you think they'd keep me in there? Or don't you? Yeah, of course. If I was fucking crazy and I had no evidence, absolutely. But the second I have the evidence in my hand, the second I have the documentation, they let me go. Why is that? Sorry, Scott, I'm not the one who needs help. You do. All I need is answers. I am asking reasonable questions. And I'm not exactly what reports you've read. I'm really not sure. How did you read the reports? What reports are you talking about? You're not making sense. I'm sorry. Because all the reports I've shared have pretty much shared that, once again, medical records. I really don't care, honey. At this point, the drama is the fact that Scott McFalls, Jill McFalls, Ben Levy are all sitting around here gleefully trafficking children and don't care what's happening. So guess what? If you got a problem with me calling these predators out for what they are, then you're just like them. If you have a problem with these predators being called out for the predators they are, then you are just like them. So, here is my formal request. Since I know the courts have been watching this, thank you so much for making that obvious. My formal request right now will be done now and on the record. I want Mr. McFalls and I want Jill McFalls evaluated for mental health problems because one of us is basing all of our reactions on evidence, on facts and evidence, whereas you have Scott McFalls, Jill McFalls, and Ben Levy who are completely delusional, who are refusing to do anything. So, once again, we have facts and evidence. We have blood work and more blood work. But for some reason, crazy people who don't want to acknowledge the blood work, they will sit here and say that I need help, but they won't acknowledge why I'm upset. They won't acknowledge that the reason why I'm upset is my healthy daughter was taken in case of neglect, has this happen to her, then has bruises, seizures, heart murmurs, and has her growth stunted. Then the foster mother, Jill McFalls, goes around bragging about how the man who raped me as a child has become her best friend. What's most concerning is that Jill McFalls is so proud to be friends with a man who rapes and impregnates children. That's what's truly disturbing. That's what's truly disturbing. And the great part, dearest Jill, is that when I was in labor, I didn't fucking scream. So the neighbors didn't even know I was in labor. So that right there is a damn good indicator that I've had multiple children. Because most women know who have had multiple children that the first child you give birth to is supposed to be the most difficult, and then after that it's supposed to get easier. But unfortunately, once again, Mr. McFalls and Jill McFalls does intend to, once again, sorry, Anne, I'm sorry to tell you, but here's the blood test results. These are nutrients. This is her nutrient levels, okay? Sodium, potassium, chloride, these are her nutrient levels. So to say she's extremely malnourished when these are her nutrient levels isn't true. However, you go from one thing being off right here to 8 things being off right here. So this is malnourished. This is almost perfectly healthy. This is extremely malnourished. Now, if you want to talk about the fact that she had the tongue and lip tie, we can talk about that. One of the biggest indicators of tongue and lip tie is a skinny baby. However, also one of the biggest indicators of tongue and lip tie is a skinny baby with perfectly fine nutrient levels. Now, when Iris wasn't gaining weight, we took her to 3 different doctors to find out why. We took her to Dr. Ramos Salas, we took her to Dr. Blackwell White, where she saw Dr. Parks, and then we took her to Main Street Pediatrics, where she saw Dr. Fuller. Now, all 3 of these doctors couldn't even be bothered to check her for the #1 cause of slow weight gain in breastfed babies. So, once again, we have 3 doctors who failed to check her for the #1 cause of slow weight gain in breastfed babies. We took her to 3 different doctors to find out why she wasn't gaining weight. And we did everything that CPS told us to do. And they still took this healthy child who, while she may not have been gaining weight the way that she was medically supposed to, she was still nourished. Don't lie and say she was malnourished. She is perfectly nourished, almost perfectly nourished here. Now this is malnourished. You want to talk about how she was skinny? Okay, we can talk about how she was skinny because 3 different doctors couldn't check her for the #1 cause of slow weight gain. And guess what? That tongue and lip tie is a genetic disorder. Here's another question. Why has CPS refused to check her for that genetic disorder? All they have to do is check her and absolutely prove right there that, guess what? Tongue and lip tie, genetic disorder. Nothing the parents did wrong because, once again, she was brought to 3 different doctors to find out why she wasn't gaining weight. And all 3 different doctors didn't even check her. So once again, you want to talk about how she was skinny? Okay, she was skinny because 3 different doctors failed to check her for the #1 cause of slow weight gain in breastfed babies. You want to talk about how she was malnourished? Sorry, sweetheart. Medical records disagree with you. Common sense disagrees with you. So, guys, this is where we are right now. I don't know if I told you. Scott is also refusing to make sure I have a phone or anything like that. Once again, Scott is talking. I'm not reading what he's saying because Scott does nothing but lie. The fact that I got locked up, again, was based on nothing but lies. So if you want to let Scott talk, Scott, go ahead, keep running your mouth. Keep showing how you're allowing this to go on and how you're excusing this. The only reason why I'm this upset is because I want to know why her health declined. And if you found out, and if you helped me find out, we would have been able to get her back and stop CPS from doing this shit. But not only have you refused to get her back, you've been enabling CPS. So let me go back again. How many children have been abducted since you started helping CPS, Scott? How many kidnappings are you involved in? Because guess what? As far as I'm concerned, you've been helping them kidnap children this entire time. As far as I'm concerned, every single child that has been under Ben Levy is your responsibility. You've had your chance to side with the Patriots or to side with the cabal. You chose the cabal. That's your choice, not mine. Once again, we have people who ignore facts and evidence to repeat CPS's talking points. I love how you guys out yourself. Lexi, that's unfortunately what they do. They will specifically, Scott, here's the thing. I'm getting her back. I'm not concerned about that. As you know, Ben thought that he was intercepting the federal case. You know he thought he intercepted the appeal, and you know he thinks he intercepted the Supreme Court case. You and I both know that's not actually true. He didn't intercept it. It's gone through. And you and I both know that I have no concerns whatsoever in where that's going to go. Because that case will kill many birds with one stone. Many, many birds with one stone. And it takes Congress out of the equation. Once again, Scott, I've been telling you, oh, Lexi, I'm sorry. Yeah. Maryland, these Kabbalion strongholds, unfortunately, if the state is blue, you can count on them coming after your child if you're an independent thinker. The reason why Scott is upset is because I've been trying to find out why Iris's health declined. And his response has ultimately been, I don't care, and to walk out. Now, I also want to go on to something else, to really emphasize how crazy he is, and then I will stop and let you guys go for a little bit. I might keep the stream going because once again, as you can see, Scott's fucking crazy. He refuses to acknowledge any of the actual facts and evidence. He refuses to bring up the fact that Iris's health has clearly declined. He refuses to care about the fact that the man who raped me when I was a child became best friends with his mother shortly after he got my daughter. He doesn't give a flying fuck that by this point in time, Iris is 18 months. He didn't, little Rock. Sorry. I remember, sorry, you were one of the first people I heard call into Frank the first time I started listening to him, and you left an impression, so I'm really excited you're here. I'm sorry. Sorry. Lost track. Her health is not perfect, Scott. Prove it. Prove it. Why won't CPS do follow-up blood work? I've been asking for follow-up blood work for over a year. This is not perfect. The fact that Iris has had colds the entire time she's been in foster care is not perfect. The fact that she had been perpetually sick, the fact that after the second round of vaccinations in November, CPS cut visitation for 3 weeks. Remember, guys, the first round of vaccinations that Iris received, she got those bruises on the back of both of her hands. So the first round of vaccination she needed IVs in the back of both of her hands. Iris is currently with her foster mother, or her maternal grandmother. The problem with the maternal grandmother is she is completely psychotic. She's the one who runs around screaming, I have Iris, I have all the fucking control, says that she couldn't care less that my family raped me as a child, and is running around and completely ignoring all of the evidence, all the blood work. She's been going around saying that I'm a drug addict, even though I have drug test results showing that I don't have a substance abuse problem or anything. The only problem I have right now is a child trafficker problem. That's the only problem I have right now. Scott tells me I need help. You're right, I do. Every single mental health professional who has evaluated me, oh yeah, she definitely is, Christy. She definitely is. Like, it's bad. She's one of those that you don't have to blackmail. To give you an idea, she's not even mind controlled. She's one of those who you don't even have to blackmail. To give you an idea, on how bad that bitch is. When I first saw Iris, and you know, she had the bruises and everything. I don't know how well you can see them in the picture. I don't think you can see them well, but you have to remember, she also doesn't know the difference between 1 and 2. She seems to think that Iris had 1 bruise, but she had bruises on both of her hands. Once again, we have pictures. You'd think that a woman who did daycare would know how to count between 1 and 2. But my issue with her is that when we first saw Iris, after Iris was taken, her granddaughter, Scott's niece, who is a teenager, about 15-ish, she was walking around with a knee brace on her knee and was complaining of jaw and throat issues. Now, the problem with the jaw and throat issues and the knee brace is when I was a child, I had a lot of knee, jaw, and throat issues from all the time that I spent on my knees servicing the people that my parents sold me to. So for her granddaughter to have almost identical symptoms that I had at her age, almost identical sexual abuse symptoms, I mean, that's very alarming. And for her to then turn around and become best friends with the man who sold me as a child, when her own granddaughter is showing the exact same symptoms, you're absolutely right, Christy. You're absolutely right. And Scott, I've been trying to get help. The problem is you have been refusing to help me. I have been wanting discovery. I have been wanting to know why you've been allowing CPS to abuse my daughter. I've been wanting to know why you've been okay with the man who raped me as a child being around our daughter. And I want to know why you are okay with CPS trafficking and abusing other children. I want to know why this is okay to you. I want to know why you're walking out instead of trying to work together to fix this. Because it shouldn't be this. It shouldn't be this difficult to have you stand up and say something. I've been doing this completely by myself, going through all these flashbacks. The court didn't deny discovery, Scott. You never tried. I asked you to have you go through your attorney, and you have refused to. Every single thing I've asked of you, you have refused to. I asked you to help me protect her, and you did the exact opposite. You did the exact opposite of what I told you would protect her. You threw her to them. You gave her to them. You knew what they wanted to do, and you didn't care. They took our healthy daughter and made her sick. She had been perpetually sick for months. How many other children have they done this to since they took Iris, Scott? What do you think could have happened if you stood up and tried to actually do something about this? How many families would have been saved? How many children have died because of you? What the hell are you doing? Yes, you did give her away. The police came, they didn't have a warrant. I was gonna walk out with her, and you kept putting her down. You kept leaving her. I was gonna walk out with her, but you kept leaving her. Just like you filed that bullshit motion to kick me out. Well, that's the question, Christy. I don't know where this court order is. No, and I'm sure Amanda doesn't think false accusations are okay. But guess what? One of us has been providing proof of all of our accusations. The other one has not. One of us has been making accusations and providing proof. One of us has been making accusations and saying, give us proof. The other one has been saying no, withholding everything, doing everything that they can to deny, to not give proof. Now hold on, let me also show you guys how far CPS goes to withhold information. We have a letter. Oh, where is it? Sorry guys, I got a bunch of, about the niece. Once again, I would love to be able to get to discovery and find out. Because if CPS can take healthy children in case of neglect, they're supposed to be doing health examinations on the children exposed around foster children. They're also supposed to be doing background checks on the foster family. Unfortunately, there was no background check that was conducted on the foster family. And there was no evaluation done on the foster grandchild. So, once again, we're in a situation where CPS is claiming one thing, I'm claiming another, I'm asking for evidence, and CPS is saying no. Once again, only one of us has been doing everything that we can to back up our actions or back up our words with proof. CPS has refused to, every single step of the way. CPS has been doing everything they can to avoid providing proof, with Scott going so far as to walk out every single time I ask them, can we please go to a store or to a public location and ask people, random people, who are completely and truly independent and not involved in this, whether they think this is abuse or not. And every single time I ask to do that, he walks out of the house. Why is that? Now, I want to read you guys something. This letter right here. This is a letter from a lawyer for CPS. Well, no, let me. When I was granted discovery, by the way, Scott. The fact that I was given the subpoenas means I was given discovery. What I want you to make sure that we're actually able to get it right and get the complete records. What I want you to show that you're willing to put your family before CPS. And unfortunately, you're refusing to do so. You're coming up with any reason possible to not put your family first. You're coming up with any reason possible to allow CPS to continue kidnapping children. And by the way, guys, I want to make something very clear to all of you. Due to my past, I have no true sense of individuality. When I say my family first, or when I say me first, I'm not just talking about Iris and I am talking my patriot family. My patriot family. They are my real family because they are the only ones who have been here trying to support and trying to help. So when I say my family and you didn't put our family first, I mean that you're putting the cabal, you're putting CPS, you're putting child trafficking before what's right. So let me read this to you. This is from GBMC, Greater Baltimore Medical Center. This was sent to me because I sent to a subpoena to Dr. Melissa Sparrow to find out why my daughter's health declined. And I got this response. Dear Ms. Guskin, we do not see an open case with the case number you provided above. I contacted Susan Ingle Parks Esquire, who advises that the DSS case involving you, which has another case number, is now closed. Dr. Sparrow and GBMC will not be responding to your recent request for records dated April 9th, 2019. So this is very alarming, guys. We have CPS's attorneys contacting hospitals, telling them lying to them, telling them that open cases do not exist, and helping them withhold medical records. Amanda, Scott hasn't even given up. He hasn't done anything. He literally has done nothing. I have asked for this entire thing for him to do one thing, to demand Iris's medical records. But the reason why they haven't been listening to me is because in the courtroom, Scott stands silent and lets them think I'm crazy. He won't acknowledge the medical records. He won't acknowledge the drug test results. He won't acknowledge the bruises. He won't acknowledge the heart murmurs. He won't acknowledge the seizures. Well, no, let me rephrase. He goes back and forth on the seizures. Sometimes he believes she's had seizures. Sometimes he doesn't. He just takes CPS at their word and doesn't want answers. We see seizures, but he doesn't want answers. Yes, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. Scott, once again, prove it. I have proof that CPS has been lying. Why won't CPS let Iris be evaluated by an independent doctor? Is it because she's already been violated? Probably, but you don't care. You don't want to find out. I know, Amanda, I know he's afraid. But the thing is, he wouldn't be afraid if he was listening. He wouldn't be afraid if he actually started looking at the picture and started looking at the evidence. He wouldn't be afraid if he wasn't listening to delusional lunatics. This would have been significantly better had Scott actually worked together and not thrown us to the wolves. But he's sitting here and saying that she's happy and healthy when every single time I saw her, she had bags under her eyes were bloodshot, she was pale as hell, looked like she's not getting enough sleep, and after she was taken, she had a cold perpetually. Granted, I haven't seen her since March 7th, but the last time I saw her, she was still sick. So to say that she's happy and healthy after she had bruises, seizures, heart murmurs, and you don't want to find out why. You don't want to find out why. Because for 2 hours, you don't see seizures at visitation? That's why you think she's healthy? Because the people who are refusing to give us her medical records say that she's healthy? Because you're believing them instead of the medical records? Once again, I want the blood test results. I want the blood test results. I want to compare apples to apples, not apples to bricks. But let's also talk about how when I was talking to you on the phone at the hospital about the main reason why I'm upset is because of Iris's blood work, you called me crazy, you called me delusional, and you said that you didn't care. Over and over and over again. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. That's what you said. When I referred to Iris's blood test results, you said that you don't care. You did. Not me. You did. And then we get home, and once again we're talking about the blood test results, and you're the one that starts calling her a bitch. Why the hell are you calling your toddler daughter a bitch after you're saying that you don't care what's been happening to her? I'm sorry, Buffer. No, I'm not calming down. I'm not calming down at all. I'm not going to calm down until these fuckwits are arrested. Then I'll start calming down. I'm not going to calm down until these assholes are off the street. No, Scott. What I need you to stop being a fucking psychopath. What I need you to actually acknowledge the medical records and the reality and the facts. Well, and guess what, Scott? It hasn't been fixed overnight. It's been going on for how many months now? For 15 months? And what have you done to fix it? You haven't done a fucking thing. And then you'll sit here and say that you're doing what the court told you to. Well, guess what? The court probably wouldn't have told you to do that if you actually stood up and said something. If you actually stood up and showed that you gave a flying fuck. But you didn't. You threw us away. You threw your daughter away, and then you threw me away. No, I haven't seen Iris. Do you know why I haven't seen Iris? Awesome, let's get into that. Let's get into why I haven't seen Iris. The reason why I haven't seen Iris since March 3rd of 2019 is because the last time I saw Iris before that, she started having seizures at visitation. So I took out my phone to record them to make sure that if she had seizures, I could record them and document it. Right after that, CPS then says that I can't have my phone anymore, takes my phone away, and then we have the foster care supervisor, Ben Levy, coming in the middle of visitation, interrupting, inciting problems, lying, and manipulating shit. So Scott wants me to trust Ben Levy, Jill McFalls, Christina Hudgens, Susan Ingle Parks, and all these people that are kidnapping and abusing children, and he wants to keep me completely vulnerable so that way I can't document anything or cover my ass when they lie. So that's why I haven't seen Iris since March. Because every step of the way, CPS has been lying, and rather than letting me have my phone so that way I can document the seizures, CPS wants to take my phone, make sure I can't, and Scott's perfectly fine with it. Once again, he's sitting here saying that she's perfectly healthy. Blood work disagrees. Reasonable, rational, logical people. What's more important? Making sure Iris is healthy. And guess what? That documentation proves that Iris is not healthy. That documentation proves that, and it's a year old because you've done nothing to try and update it. Let's update it. It's been a year. CPS should have it fixed. So let's go. It's a year old. Give us an update. I asked for an update after the fact. They refused to. It's a year later. Let's go. There's got to be something. I've been asking for updated blood work for over a year now. Now you want to sit here and say that it's a year old? Guess what, bitch? I told you this is exactly what's going to happen. I told you when she was first taken that I wanted the blood work, that they're going to come back around and they're going to try and sit and say, well, it's been a year, so we don't need to do the blood work. It's amazing. It's amazing how you do their talking points for them. It really is. You do their job for them. You really do. There is no reason to not do an update on the blood work. None. There is no reason to try and find out why her blood work declined that severely. And the fact that you are sitting here and excusing it by refusing to get answers and then saying, well, we don't need answers because it's been over a year, so meh, let it go. No, bitch. That's not how that works. If you see somebody's health has declined that severely, you find out why. Common fucking sense. No, they didn't do the blood work. We haven't released it. We haven't seen it. Stop lying. Stop lying. You're lying again. You're still fucking lying. If they did the blood work, I would have something to compare it to. I would have something to present to the people. But you're still lying. You're still lying. You're still lying, Scott. Once again, let's talk about insanity. Let's talk about insanity. Let's talk about delusions. A delusion is thinking that this child, let's actually can do that, that's right. A delusion is thinking that this child is extremely malnourished. A delusion is thinking that this child is being neglected. And a delusion is thinking that this child is healthier than the first child. A delusion is saying that Iris is healthy when evidence shows that she is not. I'm not pushing and I'm not harping on Iris's life status. I am harping on the medical records. I am harping on the blood test results. You are the one who wants to keep up bringing the very real possibility that she's dead while refusing to demand DNA test results. So once again, we're sitting here. Well, no, Scott, they wouldn't, because I've been asking these questions for over a year, and what I've been getting in response is, well, we're not really sure. It could have been this, or it could have been that. I've been asking for answers for over a year. If they gave me answers, I wouldn't still be asking them, would I? The only answers I have gotten was from Dr. Fuller, who couldn't be bothered to check Iris for a tongue and lip tie. And she said, well, it could have been this, or it could have been that. I'm not really sure. That's not a fucking answer. And the fact that you consider that to be an answer is fucking pathetic. This was a healthy child removed in case of neglect. This was the day after she was removed. Then give the answers. No, why would I have no answers? Why would I not have my daughter if they give answers? That makes no sense. And you guys see, this is the logic we're dealing with here. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with somebody who thinks that this is extremely malnourished, and we're dealing with somebody who thinks this is an improvement in health. And then when I ask for follow-ups on this, he refuses. He doesn't care, and then he turns around and calls her a bitch. He called his 18-month-old toddler a bitch because I want to find out why this happened to her. Amanda, the reason why they took her was they took her in case of neglect. According to Benjamin, you have been, Scott. You are the one who's been saying that this is perfectly healthy, that she's happy, and this is perfectly fine. Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Checkmate. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, this is what CPS and Scott McFalls considers to be extremely Once again, prove it. This is only blood work that we have to go on. And then I've been seeing her sick every single time we go there. Why did CPS cut visitation for 3 weeks in a row after her most recent set of vaccinations? Why is that? Once again, this is what CPS considers extremely malnourished. This is what Scott considers to be extremely healthy and perfectly healthy. He doesn't want follow-up blood test results because Ben and Jill said so. Ben and Jill tell him that this is healthy, so he doesn't care. He runs around the house screaming how he doesn't care. And when I ask him to get answers and to find out why they're kidnapping healthy children. No, Scott, I've wanted follow-up blood work for over a year. And then once again, I've been asking for follow-up blood work for over a year. And then I've been asking for follow-up blood work for over a year. And then we're at the point where it's over a year. You're now sitting here and saying, well, it's been a year. I don't need the blood work. You are fucking yourself so hard right now, it's not even funny. Thank you. Exactly, Dr. Checkmate. Exactly. This is what CPS did the day after she was taken. These are the bruises that were on the back of both of her hands. Little wrong way, I have no idea. Every single time that they have kept her, they took her in case of neglect, they kept her in case of violence. And the reason why they kept her the most recent time is because I haven't been able to get the mental health treatment I've been prescribed because CPS is extorting us for $811 a month. So back on June 1st, 2018, CPS filed for child support. Scott let this go on for over a year. We have not been given any conditions. The only conditions that I have been given is to stop talking about the way I was abused as a child. That's the only thing that CPS has given. Stop talking about the way I was abused as a child. That's the CPS conditions. The only thing CPS has wanted from me was to stop talking. Now let's talk about how that's intimidating a witness. Let's talk about how that's kidnapping a child to intimidate a witness. That's what they've said. They will not give Iris back unless I stop talking about the way I was abused as a child. And that's what they've said, and that's what it's been. So this is what Scott thinks is extremely unhealthy and malnourished. This is what Scott thinks is an improvement in health. Scott also thinks that this is... That's the point, little wrong way, because he has done nothing to try and help. Unfortunately, in the courtroom, to go back a few steps, CPS originally opened this case claiming that I tested positive for drugs, claiming that she was a substance-exposed newborn. But drug test results here, I don't know how well you can see them. And if you want, you can contact Frank. He actually has all this information. But you can see here, little wrong way. CPS said I tested positive for drugs, but as you can see here, I tested negative for everything. So they opened up a substance-exposed newborn case even though I tested negative for everything. My biggest concern throughout all of this from the beginning was if they've done this to us, how many other families have they done this to? And I've been trying to find that out from the beginning. But Scott hasn't cared. He has done everything he can to prevent me from getting any information at all whatsoever. Going so far that every single time we're in the courtroom, he does not speak up. He stands there silent, allows CPS to belittle my mental health, and my mental health was never a concern for CPS until I started demanding answers about what happened to Iris's blood work. CPS did not even question my mental health until I started asking why this happened. I don't know how long you've been here, so let me give you a bit of a rundown. This is my daughter's blood work from April 12th, 2018. CPS took her from me in case of neglect. They said this was extremely malnourished. The day after she was taken, this is April 26th, CPS claimed that this is an improvement in health. Claw, the issue is that it's not so much about documentation, it's about the fact that CPS has been lying through their teeth about everything. I mean, clearly indicated right here. The foster care supervisor has been going out of their way to come into the room and harass us during visits. He's been lying. He's been causing as many problems as possible, as you can see right now. The fact that we have a healthy child that he admitted was taken in case of neglect. So when you have the foster care supervisor admitting that he is taking healthy children in case of neglect and placing them with people who become friends with known rapists and pedophiles, I can't help it. I'm going to get a little upset and I'm going to demand answers. So where we are right now is also to add on top of that blood work that you see right there. Iris had bruises on the back of both of her hands. Those bruises also had little teeny tiny holes in them. They looked like they were from IVs. So after our healthy child was taken in case of neglect, that blood work happened to her, and then she needed IVs at some point after being taken. To build on that, to make that even worse, after she was taken in case of neglect, and we have that blood work and we have the bruises on the back of both of her hands, Iris also developed heart murmurs and seizures. And before she was taken, in 4 months, from December 29th until April 12th, she gained 6 inches in length. She may not have been gaining weight the way she was supposed to, due to the fact that 3 doctors failed to check her for tongue and lip tie, which I can get back into if you'd like me to. But 3 doctors failed to check her for something. And once again, CPS took her from us in case, So, sorry, I got a little sidetracked. So she developed seizures, heart murmurs, and also before she was taken, she had gained 6 inches in length. After she was taken, her growth was almost completely stunted for months. For about 6 months, she only gained about 2 inches in length, and then the doctor refused to let me come to visits anymore. After I started pointing out that her growth was stunted, that after the blood work, and mind you, I even asked her pediatrician, the same pediatrician who refused to check for the tongue and lip tie. I don't know if you know Little Wrong Way, but tongue and lip tie is an extra, and thank you for being here, you're helping immeasurably. Tongue and lip tie is an extra piece of skin under the top lip and under the tongue that makes it so that way a breastfed baby burns more calories while they're eating. It's the #1 cause of slow weight gain in breastfed babies. Jeff, to answer your question, as I have mentioned previously, we have witnessed Iris having seizures. And I have wanted to bring my phone in to be able to record in case she's having seizures. But another thing that's going on is that when I go to visits, we're at a locked up location, pretty much locked in a room with a one-way mirror. So I can't see who's there. I can't see what's going on. But I do know the people that are there. Jill McFalls is the foster mother who's been lying through her teeth. Christina Hudgens is Iris's attorney, who is working more with, who actually Judge Cox herself even said that they have attorney-client privilege with CPS. So the judge in our case actually formally acknowledged that Iris's attorney is actually working with CPS. By the judge giving Iris's attorney attorney-client privilege with CPS's attorneys, that officially and formally said that she named CPS having 2 attorneys and Iris had 0. So right now in this case, CPS has so far at least had 3 attorneys representing them. Because we've had Iris's attorney, Christina Hudgens, who works for Darlene Wakefield Law Office, who's been formally determined to be part of a CPS attorney. Then we have Susan Ingle Parks. Susan Ingle Parks is a child support attorney. She filed for child support on June 1st, 2018. This is just over a month after she was taken. So here's the thing too. Why is CPS changing children's insurance and going after parents for child support barely a month after they were taken? That shows that there's no intention of giving her back. If you're going to sit there and change their insurance, extort the parents for child support, and go out of your way to make sure that the parents can't get the mental health treatment that they've been prescribed, there's no intention on giving that child back. Buffer, once again, no, I'm not denied visitation. I'm being asked to put myself in a locked room surrounded by people who have been lying every step of the way, and to not be able to have anything to document and to back myself up. So for example, what they want to do is they want to let me in a closed room where Jill McFalls, Christina Hudgens, and Ben Levy, all known liars, all known child traffickers, all known child abusers, who have every incentive in the world to lie about my interactions with Iris. Every incentive in the world to lie about my interactions with her. And that's what they've been doing. All they've been doing is lying. There has not been an honest word coming out of their mouth. I would rather spend visitation sitting in the courthouse on camera where nobody can say that I've been doing anything to Iris, and I'd rather miss those visitations thinking about the long term, thinking about how these people are compulsive liars. I'd rather sit in the courthouse on camera letting all of the judges in the courthouse see me and know that I'm not a problem, and know that I'm not causing any problems, and know that the only reason why there are any problems going on is because CPS is lying and Scott McFalls is completely enabling it. Completely enabling it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about his daughter. He doesn't care about his family. He doesn't care about his country. He doesn't care about his planet. He doesn't care about his people. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. And Scott wants me to let these people kidnap children. Scott, Jill, Ben, they all want me to let this keep happening. They all want me to be quiet, and they all want me to let this continue going on. Once again, I know how this works. I've seen this shit from the inside. Unfortunately, I was present when some of these laws were written. I know how this works. I've seen it work. I was trained to be one of these people. I was trained to be one of them. I know how this works. And I need it to stop. It needs to stop everywhere. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be yelling at you guys. You understand, I'm not yelling at, you know what I mean. No, Scott, if you cared about Iris, then you would be demanding to know why this happened. If you cared about Iris, you would be demanding to know why this happened, but you haven't. Instead, you have blamed me for this. The reason why this happened was because you wouldn't let me keep her safe. That's why it happened. Priorities. Exactly, Scott. Priorities. What are your priorities? Your priorities have not been with anybody but yourself. I have been the one that has been getting up at the ass crack of dawn almost every day to write up motions and to get shit ready for federal court. What have you been doing? What have you been doing other than gaslighting me and making me feel like shit? What have you been doing to help? Not a fucking thing. Not a fucking thing. You have been doing nothing but defending this and enabling it. And also, you guys might have noticed, I don't have my glasses. After the police came and assaulted me, my glasses are more or less broken. And I don't have my glasses anymore, so yeah, that's fun. And you're right, Dr. Checkmate, it has been, but it should be his family, but it hasn't been. My frustration with him is that he has been saying that, hold on, let me make sure I have that more or less worded right. Shit, I lost. I don't remember. Sorry, I lost it. But yeah, he hasn't put his family first. Oh yes, the cops did come again, little wrong way. They came last Monday. I was actually in the middle of watching Frank, believe it or not. And the cops showed up at the door again on Monday. They grabbed me, once again came into the house, grabbed me, slammed my head into the door a couple of times, threw me onto the floor. They were pretty much like, oh, she's really fighting this time. Yeah, you assaulted me twice? Abso-fucking-lutely I'm fighting now. Fuck you. Not to you, little wrong way. I love you. You're fantastic. Prove it, Scott. The blood work shows she's not okay. They came because Scott wrote a false petition, pretty much telling the court that I've been refusing to get help, when I'm pretty sure this channel is like 95% trying to get help. Sorry, I'm opening a juice box. Give me a second. Now, mind you, to build on that, Saturday I got upset with Scott. I don't know, little wrong way. He's called them here so many times. 2 out of 3 of them, 2 out of the 3 times I got assaulted by the cops was because of Scott. Before this whole thing happened, I never, ever had problems with the local police. I never had problems in the local community. Exactly, Jojo. He wants to put me in a situation. Scott doesn't have, I don't know why Scott doesn't have custody. Because Scott lives with me and he's been letting them think that I'm crazy. Rather than, actually saying to the judge, no, Your Honor, the reason why she's upset is because of Iris's blood work, because this is not okay. For a healthy child to be taken in case of neglect, have this happen to them, develop seizures, heart murmurs, have bruises on the back of both of their hands, and have their growth stunted? Come on now. Come on. He seriously is trying to sit here and say that that's healthy. He's seriously trying to sit here and say that's okay. And then he will sit and argue, and he uses things that he knows that CPS uses to their advantage to help them. For example, you guys know the reason why I don't want to go to visitation is because I know the way they're trying to set me up. I know the way they are, and he knows it too. But he's still playing directly into their hands. He's still telling me to do. A little wrong way, that's a little complicated. Let me get into that for a second. She is with Scott's mom. However, my major concern, there are 2 major concerns with that. One is when we saw Iris for the first time after Iris was taken, the foster mother's granddaughter, Scott's niece, showed very, very, very similar symptoms that I did at her age. So she had on a knee brace. She was complaining of jaw issues and throat issues. I have jaw issues jaw and knee issues due to all the time I spent servicing other men. So the knee, jaw, and throat issues were due to that. I still have the knee and jaw issues. The knee issues aren't as bad anymore. My jaw still pops. I don't really get strep throat anymore. And I don't get urinary tract infection. Oops. I don't get strep throat anymore. But, yeah. So, as soon as we get there, the niece is showing the exact same abuse symptoms that I had at her age. And then to build on that, the foster mother, I've been trying. The judge is just denying every single motion, which, I'm making it very clear to her why. I'm showing the blood test results and everything. So that's why we've got this case moving to the federal Supreme Court. Because I knew the judge wasn't going to give her back. Because one thing, do you have documentation for these issues? Which issues? The one with the niece? No, unfortunately, I do not have documentation for that. I have that just based on observations. And I have once again asked, look, CPS, guys, look into this. If these are signs of abuse, you should be looking into this, especially if you're considering this woman to be a foster mother. At the very least, they should be looking into it, but they haven't. They're refusing to. Unless you're talking about documentation with Iris's health, which I have the blood work right here. I've been trying to get documentation for the lack of growth, for the seizures and heart murmurs, but Scott has pretty much outright said he doesn't care. Sorry. And yeah, I mean, hey, look, Dr. Checkmate, I at least admit it. I admit when I don't have solid proof of something. I admit it. I'm not going to sit here and say that, yeah, I know for a fact. No. I at least admit it. So you've got that. You've also got that going. Oh yeah, Christy, I know. I'm watching people's messages get redacted, which speaks volumes, guys, doesn't it? If they are actively watching the stream and deleting posts and stuff, oh yeah. Doesn't that speak volumes too? Little Wrong Way, I don't know if you're busy tonight, but if you could call into Frank or something, I would really like to just hear your voice, please. I would really appreciate that. But if you can, I understand. I'm sure you're also really busy, but thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Hopefully I'll be able to meet you soon. Yeah, Christy, they actively monitor the stream. They don't want this information getting out. CPS monitors it, YouTube monitors it, Team Child Trafficking monitors it. So, yeah, guys. It's funny, Claw. You have much to say. Little Wrong Way? Yes, you can get in contact with me through Frank, or my email is Jen, Jenn, S as in Samantha, G as in Guskin, 1987 @gmail.com. But I also don't really know what's going on with mail and stuff because Scott's been here. I'll be honest, I believe that a lot of my stuff is compromised. So that's another thing that I'm battling with. No, Lexi, I wish that all of us had this type of avenue sooner, because if we did, I don't think this would have gone on for this long. I think that if we had ways to talk about this sooner, this would have been ended a long time ago. And I'm sorry that it's taken this long, and I am so sorry that Scott's made it take longer. I'm so sorry. You spend 10 or 11 years with a person and revolve your life around them. I would love that. Thank you, Little Wrong Way. Thank you so much. But, thank you, Jojo. Where we go one, we go all. We've definitely got this. It's all of us together. All of us together. I will not stop fighting, and I hope none of you do either, because this is an issue that affects all of us. And yeah, that's about it. I'm probably gonna get back to work. We're gonna do everything that we can to get everybody back where they belong. And a big part of the federal case that we have is sorry, I'm having a moment. I'm gonna have to go soon because clearly I'm having a moment. A big part of the case is making sure that we can get these families help. That is the primary purpose. Well, the primary purpose is getting these criminals arrested, changing the laws, and getting people help. What's up, Lucy? But my main goals in this, changing the laws, holding these criminals accountable, and getting people the help they need. Because, okay. Let me sit for a second. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna get back to work. I love you guys so much. And we're gonna fix this. We're gonna do it together. And we're gonna make sure this never happens again. All right, Lucy, I'll stay. But I have to plug you in, so I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see. Orientation. Can you guys still see? It says orientation locked. Oh, Silithid. I can't see. I'll check right now, a little wrong way. I got it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I did get it. Watch your tail, please. 1 second. Oh, watch your paws. Watch your paws. Meet Diamond. She has a weaponized puppy dog tail. You coming too? Sorry, the house is a mess because of... Come on. I'll escort you. Come on. Go, go, go. Nice try. Come on. There you go. Sorry about that. She gets a little too excited for him and I have to escort him outside sometimes. We joke around that she sometimes gets to be a bath salt puppy because she pretends she like goes to eat his face to pull him outside. Oh, absolutely. Dr. Checkmate, I love Red Pill 78. Patriot Soapbox, I am familiar with. I watch them from time to time. I probably should watch them more, but I kind of get stuck with Red Pills. Not stuck, you know what I mean. Addicted to Red Pill 78, Serial Brain, Space Shot, In the Matrix. Uh, quite frankly, I need to listen to Frank and Beans more, though. Oh man. I miss them so. Like, the entire time I was hospitalized, I'm sitting there pretty much crying for my Patriot family. I wasn't crying for Scott. Well, I was kind of crying for Scott. I was crying a little bit for Scott, more along the lines of, how did I spend 10 years with him and not know? But I was more crying because I was missing my Patriot family more than anything. Yes, Lucy, I can see your messages right now. No, unfortunately, my eyes don't do the rolling back thing. I don't know. I do. I don't know. I don't think mine really do the rolling back thing. Dr. Checkmate, you should stop by again. See if you can go on Soapbox or something like that. Call in and just say hi, whether it's to me or just to the Patriots in general. That would be nice. But Lucy, I will try that out when I'm laying down, because that sounds like something I'd be better off doing in like a laying position, because then I can really let myself go in it. But not when I'm sitting up. Hi, Mupine. You know, I'm noticing that a lot of them seem to be really fighting. However, I'm so upset. I'm so upset that I missed the social media summit at the White House. Oh my God. Mm. Mm. Thank you, Dr. Checkmate. I appreciate it. But make sure people know that it's not just about Iris, that it's about God knows how many other families that this has happened to. I'm feeling okay, Lucy. As good as I can for right now. But I'm doing pretty good. Thank you. A little wrong way to respond to your email. I can't call you. My phone has been turned off. I don't know if it was turned off as in like Scott turned it off to keep me from being able to talk to people, or if it turned off because I updated my iPhone and it did some weird thing. So I don't have a phone right now. I do have Skype. So let me figure out my Skype. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at getting a track phone or something like that. One of those. No, Mupine. I don't. The only people who I hate are the people who traffic and abuse children. I definitely don't hate. I don't hate you. Please don't think that. Please don't think that. I'm not really wired for hate. I'm not really wired for hate. Okay, talk-a-tone. All right, let me write that down, and then when I end this stream, I will do that. And if you guys want, I'm going to be a major cunt right now, and I don't really care. If you guys want, call Scott and let him know what you think. Let him know whether you think that it's okay for this to be happening. Because I don't think this is actually, fuck. No, I'm not going to put that number in. I can't risk the video getting banned. As much as I want to, I won't. As much as I want to, I won't. That's frustrating. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get going. Thanks for being here. Little wrong way. I will do that right now. And, no, you're absolutely right, Mupine. They turn children into abusers. They turn children into pedos because they make this cycle go on. They make this generational thing going on. Yes, definitely. Thank you again, Little Wrong Way. Am I on Discord? Yes. Yes, I am. I hang out in the Patriot Soapbox, or not hang out, but I have it on my Discord thing. I think the Discord name is Alexian. I'm not sure. It might be Jennifer or Jennifer Guskin. It might be my normal name. I don't know how it works. I'm sorry. Alexian. It would be Alexian. Alexian. Yes, I will look for you, Dr. Checkmate. Absolutely. I'm going to download Talkatone, and then I'll get on Patriot Soapbox and check for you. Let me write you down. All right. Thanks again, guys, and stay vocal, stay strong, keep fighting, don't give up. And where we go one, we go all.